Since I received your first kiss, it feels as if I've never danced before, as if I've never even sung before, as if I've never walked the streets of this world, as if, as if, as if, as if.
The only time I really begin to feel some attention usually is if we can talk about the heart, and something wants to find someone who wants to go inside. This is the thing, just this. But normally I am not thinking about the people. I see the people, some of them, I immediately can feel a sort of heart presence, like a sense of love, or there's some attraction, which I feel is always to the self. You understand? I feel that all the attractions are usually for the self. And but it's just how much the people recognize this. And my feeling is all attraction is towards the self, the pure self. But depending on our thinking, we may look at it in a different way. But all attractions are this. Then how quickly the people come to recognize it is the self that they want. This sometimes takes a little time, and sometimes I can feel in the people that there's some openness in this way. Sometimes I feel that they have a different thing in the mind. They are attracted, but they give the attraction a different meaning, and so they miss the best. It's like in every meeting, you can have gold, silver, or bronze, and or nickel, which is and very often I think we go for nickel. Easy, we say gold, when we come is only nickel. My normal state is not that I'm looking for people who is interested in the self. No, I just am here. No, I'm just I am here. No, I am not looking for people who is interested in the self, because it's very few.
It's very few who really interested of real self.
Yeah.
And what about other people?
Most people not really. They like I say, the attraction is always for the self, but the mind gives a different meaning. The mind wants only really what comes from the self. Actually, everything comes from the self. So whatever you want actually is the self you want. But sometimes you want something which is that just is impermanent. Mostly we want something impermanent. And this is because we are also the self. But when we believe that we are personal, then we become like an object. And then all our attractions is for objects. If you're an object, all you want is objects, basically. Even if you are attracted to some philosophy, it's still a kind of object. It means it's things that that happen with time. So with time they go. And in fact, maybe I tell you now about this dream that I had, no? Because it is similar. I don't know when. It may have been yesterday or something. I had the dream, the dream. And in the dream, it was like I was at Manta Sahaja, but it was very different. It was something different. Then I saw many people there in Manta Sahaja. Very, ooh la la people. I said, I said, I'm looking to see if I see anybody like from Sangha. But nobody, I don't see. I said, I asking the people like this, we don't know. Ask like this man, I don't know the name, like John. Like, ask John. I said, John, who's John? I said, this is my home. They said, you? No, we don't know. I'm looking. So I'm looking to find where is everybody? There's all different people looking and sitting under the tree, meditating. I don't know them. No? So then they find this man, John, and he's like a Englishman sort of guy, I said, who are you? What are you doing here? This is my home. This is where I live. And he says, no, this is what are you talking? This is where we live. So I said, but I have the papers of the land. He says, papers is not important. So I said, my Lord. And then I was looking around at the land. It looked very different. It was all different buildings, and then I was feeling. After this, I woke up. And I was thinking that maybe I came back to this land at another time. No? Maybe all of us disappeared. And now I come again to this place, but I don't recognize it. And it's different people, different energy, different. I said, but this is Manta Sahaja, no? This is Manta Sahaja. Like, it was very different. And then I was thinking that if the people who were living here, in this place, in this area, 200 years ago, 100 years ago, if they come back, would they be happy? If you, as anybody, if they came back after 50 years, 100 years, 200 years from the place that they used to live, and they come and see it as it is now, would anybody be happy? I was feeling like that in my heart, and then I felt very sad. No? I said, wait, maybe nobody, I know, especially in the city, nobody would be happy. Because the human beings, they are developing, and each of them have a right in their own time to enjoy the fruits of the manifestation. But each moment is different from, you see, one time Buddha and his disciples, Jesus and his disciples, were sitting just like we are sitting now. Maybe the Last Supper was just like this. We were sitting and talking. One day, in the future, maybe we're not here and different people like this, no? And but we had the same feeling. We look in the eyes of each other like this. We're looking. We had the soul feeling of the connection in the heart, just like that. And the time was completely like this. And then now, 1,000 years have passed. Everything is different. Even in a place like Jerusalem, if Jesus came back, but maybe there's more places. This I used to live, but everything will be changed. So everything in this life that we see with the senses, everything belongs to time. This body also is time. Our thoughts, time. Everything is time. So, what is here that is not time? Everything is time. Everything is time. Sometimes I go to the market, and I saw photographs, very beautiful old photographs of the family, children, grandparents, but they're in a flea market, like second-hand market, and it's raining, and the people, the photographs are on the ground, people are running over them. But these were once very important things for somebody. They had a connection. They had a sentiment. But now that time is past, and now strangers come and take the pictures out, throw them, and they use the frame for their family. So the life is always moving like this. And it is good to contemplate these things. Because very often we put a lot of energy to hold on to things that you cannot keep, because time will take it away, isn't it? So I say, while we have time, try to find what is beyond time. You see? Find that which is timeless, because something here is timeless. This is why we can relate now to the spirit of Jesus Christ or to the Buddha, because that is timeless. You cannot see the body of Jesus. Yesterday, 2 days ago, we were in Moscow, the big temple. We saw some bones from the saint. Yeah. Just bones. People looking. Oh, this is a bone. Look at this one. Look at that. You cannot even touch. Look at everything. Just bones. Everything is time. So my feeling is, we have to find what is beyond time. This is a time body, but inside it there is something that is beyond time. And it must be discovered with this body. Because the rest, one day, all gone. Everything gone. You love your house, one day, people might be selling drugs in your house. You don't know anything at all. You can only use your time. And then another generation will come. Maybe if you have children, and they have children, something. But one day, if you could come and see again where you lived, I don't want to be here, isn't it? Jesus came at exactly the right time for him. Each one came at the right time for them. And this is our time. This is our world now. The world lends itself to us so that we can have our play. We can have our moment to play and to imagine and to enjoy and to leave. Bye-bye. Then another wave will come of beings and they'll go, life! So this was how my dream was. And in a way, this also is still dreaming. When we believe we are this only, and this, it is called dreaming. When you realize the self, you can enjoy this, because this also comes from the self. But all of this is time. Time and spirit and matter. Isn't it? This is good. And So inside this dream, when I saw,
Когда я видел,
it was painful.
это было болезненно.
But this pain was important. It was like a mirror,
Но эта боль была важна, она была как зеркало.
because it showed you that maybe there was some attachment there,
То, что она показывает тебе, что может быть есть какая-то привязанность.
that you want something to remain like the way you loved it.
Что ты хочешь, чтобы что-то осталось таким же образом, как ты любил.
And nobody has ever been able to do that.
Никто не имеет возможности это сделать.
Because even if Jesus came back, he would, I'm sure, be disappointed. They use my words like this.
Потому что даже если Иисус еще раз придет, он будет очень удивлен. Вы используете мои слова так?
They build these big places in my name. But my message is very simple. I didn't speak golden words. I spoke life. Huh? Nobody has been able to, and we must not see this as a tragedy, because this is the big challenge. This is our house. The house is time, but the timeless lives inside it. One day the house will also be gone, but the timeless will remain the timeless. And the timeless keeps appearing through time and through form to see if in one form it will recognize itself. But it falls in love with the form and forgets the purpose of its play. So it moves from one dream to another dream. And now it is in this dream. And Satsang is helping it like to remember, don't let pain bind you or attachments. Because attachment is not love. Really, love doesn't want anything. Like I say, love just loves to love. It cannot help itself.
Thank you.
So I had this dream, and I say, I want to share this dream with Sangha. I don't know who will be there. I want to share because I felt in my heart something. It was a bit disturbing me a little bit. Because, for instance, we say this place, Sahaja, must always be in service to the true. But we have no power to determine that. You have to be true now. Don't plan to be true in the future, because truth does not know future. When we drop these concepts of future and past, there's only now, but that now is eternal. Actually, eternal means endless time, but timeless means beyond time. And so for me, the timeless is more pure than the eternal, if we can speak like that.
Зрительное знает время.
Did internal knew about time? О времени?
Does the eternal know about
About
time?
time.
Yes and no. But the eternal can only be the pure self, and it doesn't know anything because nothing is separate from it to know. And yet none of this can happen without it. Everything that manifests in these bodies in this world, including ego, including the demons, all of them comes from the same source. There's no two creators. So in the expression of duality, of diverse manifestation, there's knowledge. There's a sense of other and I. But from the highest standpoint, that relative knowledge is a bit of ignorance. The highest knowledge is that there's nothing really to know. But when you venerate knowledge, when you respect knowledge, the idea of a knowledge being ignorance is inconceivable for you. Only experience can reveal this in a way that it can be understood inside the heart. And this direct experience is everything. So ultimately, because everything comes from the self, you have to say that the self also knows this that the eternal also knew time, but that's only in a relative way. It's only through the dream. But absolutely, it knows nothing. And that is the purest knowledge. I don't know if you understand it. That's one. It's beautifully simple, but to the mind it seems very complex, because the personal mind is complex, but the absolute is simpler than simple. That is the paradox. But for who? For the one who thinks, which is also illusion actually. So what I'm saying can be the highest joy or the biggest headache, depending on how you listen and who you think you are while you're listening. You have to listen like God, not like a person, because these things come from God. I am very careful to talk about these things, because the mind has so much trouble to understand this. But sometimes children understand this, but adults struggle because they've learned too much but understand so little. Even if I could not speak or lose my tongue, it would not make any difference to this understanding. It would still be alive, and it will still have its effect. Sometimes the truth can feel too much for the mind, because the mind has a lot of desires, and truth has no desire. And without desire, everything is light, very light. Everything flows. Sometimes too much desire suffocates spontaneity, and life is spontaneity. Mind tries to replace spontaneity with thought. And the evidence of this you can perceive for yourself in the world. Our minds are constipated with thought.
Получается, что само желание восприятия это тоже желание, это тоже мешает.
It looks like
The desire of что желание?
желание восприятия. The desire to perceive is also a desire.
Desire to perceive. The desire to perceive is?
Desire to perceive is also desire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But perception is also unintentional. It's spontaneous. It is a natural function of existence, because what you can say about yourself is that you exist and that you are perceiving.
Это как форма получается.
It's like form which is perceived.
It's like?
It's like form which who is perceived.
Like the one who is
Воспринимание.
Perceiving.
the one who is perceiving is form.
Некая форма.
Ты хочешь сказать, что восприятие это
Восприятие
форма?
воспринимается как форма.
Кто видит восприятие?
Who saw the perceiving?
Who? Who is perceived the perceiving?
Yes.
To ask this question, you must already have the answer, because if you understand the question will show you the answer. It's the most perfect mirror. And the answer cannot merely be mental or intellectual. The answer can only be an experience, the most pure and direct one. Because this answer will finish off every question and every answer for you. I've come for this question. Because this question cannot be answered by a person. It can only be answered by truth itself. So I've come with this question. So I'm very excited by this question. So don't let me down, because you ask it, you see. I don't just ask this question to anybody. What perceives perceiving itself? And no verbal answer will do. So I've come to meet the answer. I don't want to hear the answer, I want to meet the answer.
Actually, I perceived from dark place where there's nothing. I see like bubble where is all this expand. But when I ask from where I look at this, I replace the attention here, and here is in this bubble.
But then what is perceiving that bubble now?
That space.
Это пространство.
Nothing is there. Who is recognize this space also?
Many people are trying, but nobody has done it. Because you present it like an answer.
I'm waiting for some feeling right in this place.
Я жду
From feeling.
чувства.
I'm waiting for some feeling.
Я жду
Yeah,
какого-то
but the feelings
чувства
will
в
come
этом.
and go. Who is the one who is waiting? Is the one who is waiting, is it real, you see? Because there's something which is not waiting.
It's like I imagine all this.
But you are what?
This imagine.
See, like this is what I've been hearing
Вот что я
around the
обычно
world. I am
слышу.
hearing this.
Всем
Yes,
мире я
and
слышу это.
1 year. I'm again from the first.
I told you I don't want to hear the answer, I want to meet the answer. Everybody came and they give a verbal answer, and then I said, no, it's not you, and then they okay, and they go away.
You just have this feeling that I not inside. I not how person. I'm looking me like body.
Но оно тело обволакивает.
But it
В этом состоянии.
but it covered my body.
И мое тело как тушка, ну, как сказать,
And my body like
Flesh.
flesh.
оно внутри.
It's inside. Body
Но
inside.
я не внутри.
But I am not inside.
Я не внутри. То, что я на самом деле
I'm
являюсь,
not
я не
inside.
внутри.
What I really are is not inside.
Это пространство вот так вот.
It's
вокруг.
space like around.
Это так.
But if it's round, it has a quality, and who perceives this quality of roundness?
Yes, but it's
Тишина и пространство. И там так.
it's silence and space
И
and
там такое
there is
блаженство.
a
И меня
bliss
начинает, и тело начинает трястись.
and body become to shake.
But who are you?
Но кто ты?
Вот я вот это пространство.
I am this space.
Я вот это пространство, это блаженство,
I'm
а
this
тело
space,
как тушка,
this,
она вот, ну как тушка,
yes.
ну как тушка, как это сказать?
It's like flesh, but my body is like flesh.
Просто у меня в чем вопрос, потому что все
My
время
question is,
речь идет о том, что внутри, что-то внутри, но внутри я ничего не вижу, кроме кишки, сердца, печени. Там.
it's always talking about something inside, but inside I don't see nothing. It's a
Only
heart
liver.
or liver.
There are different kinds of insides. There's a physical inside, but we're not talking about that
Но
type
мы
of
не говорим
inside.
об этом внутри.
There's also inside in terms of emotion and mind and imagination. Or this is also inside. They are also perceived also. There's also the sense of the person with all their experiences. That's also perceived. All that you can speak about is in front of the perceiving. What is behind the perceiving?
It's silence and space.
It perceives silence and space. The mind cannot create it or imagine it. It is without form. It is what we are. But this answer will not do. It's more than this answer. It's a child's game. Adults are too complex. To understand this, you have to vanish.
I want Hollywood freedom.
You want Hollywood freedom.
I
Hollywood.
remember
Yes. I said it.
Когда-то Mooji
Yeah.
говорил эту историю, голливудская свобода.
Mooji, if you say you disappears, this is also seen by the ultimate.
The ultimate doesn't acknowledge you.
No,
Высшее
but
я.
I'm asking a question.
Yes.
Is it seen?
Это тоже наблюдаемо.
or you just
Yes. In fact, to be in satsang, you have to be disappearing. Actually, you have to be disappearing personally.
I have questions, but I have friends. У меня есть подруга.
She has a friend.
И она попросила
She asked to ask you.
потому что был очень странный случай.
Because during your satsang there was strange something strange happened to her friend
Последний день.
in the last day of satsang in Moscow.
3 раза на нее, получается, набрасывался
3 times she has attack
страх смерти.
of death, fear of death, the fear of death very strong.
Причем, скажи, человек вообще никакими практиками не занимается.
And she never do any practice before.
Она начала резать себе руки, чтобы почувствовать
She started to cut her hands to feel her body. Not she didn't want to die. She just want to feel her body. Then she started to cut her hands.
It's the mind that was doing that.
Это ум делал.
The mind wanted to cut the body
Это ум хотел порезать тело,
because it wanted the body.
потому что он хочет тело.
It didn't want to kill the body.
Он не хочет убивать тело.
It just wanted to keep the belief in the body.
Он хочет продолжить держать веру в
То
тело.
есть это была возможность осознать, что она не тело, но ум держался за
So
тело.
she has the opportunity to know that she is not body, but her mind kept it.
Because this is where the fear comes.
Потому что страх пришел.
The fear also is not real.
Страх также нереален.
I understand this, but
Yeah.
I ask why it's happening with
Her.
very strong connection between us. Yes, because
У них сильная связь, и поэтому она спрашивает, могло ли это произойти
because
из-за нее, потому что она на Mooji.
не то что из меня.
Через тебя связь, да, пришла именно люди. Потому что через нее прошла связь.
But she should come here.
Она должна прийти сюда. Yes.
Because if I was doing this, and then I want to say, I have to go and see this man. Why am I cutting my...
Да, если бы со мной такое произошло, то я бы хотела увидеть этого человека.
Isn't it?
Почему я режу свое тело? Не так ли?
Yes, you must
Она
find.
была на... She was once in your satsang, Skype
Acha.
satsang. Yes.
As soon as the mind really stands the chance of awakening to the truth, it begins to freak out. And all this strangeness is coming out.
Все эти странные чувства приходят.
So it's important to be in a community, in a space that can guide you, to tell you are not going crazy. Your mind is going crazy.
Это твой ум сходит с ума.
Yeah, you see? In reality, the mind doesn't exist actually.
Ум вообще-то не существует.
It is only belief
Это только вера.
of the self, the I, the manifest self, the consciousness itself, which is what we are in the dynamic expression of life. The consciousness which through which experiencing comes.
Should record it somewhere.
The consciousness only begins recording when
Сознание только начинает.
when it begins to identify itself as a person and the body.
Начинает записывать, когда оно только отождествляется с тем, что оно тело.
Physically nowhere.
Где она
You
Где оно
know,
записывает?
everything is consciousness.
And memory what is from where?
Aspect of
Память, что
consciousness
это?
also, a play of
Память
consciousness.
— аспект сознания, игра сознания.
Everything, all the possibilities, all the worlds exist within consciousness.
Все существующее в мире — это сознание.
You see, I want to show you this, but you're not ready to be shown. You're only ready to listen, because to be shown is too impactful. It's too strong, maybe.
Это очень, может быть очень
The
сильно.
mind is a bit too immature for it.
не сильно зрелый.
Он может быть незрелым для этого.
No pain. Okay, I want to show it. Like in the market.
Well, everything is okay. Everything is okay, always. This is not a tragic story. The tragedy is only for the ego, which is all imagined. We are the eternal self, beyond choice. The game of life is to awaken to this truth, that's all. But competition comes through the ego, because we fall in love with our reflection or our portrait as a person, which keeps us inside the dream. The dream can be beautiful sometimes, a nightmare other times. But we love it and hate it. But overall, we are attached to it because of the love of experiencing. The words are only helping to soften you up a little bit, to make you a little bit more open, a bit more broad, to prepare your mind for the darshan of the self. It is so beautiful, but while we are dreaming, we imagine it to be awful. The self is always happy, only the mind is miserable, because it imagines so many things which are unreal.
I think I'm holding this table. Oh, no.
You are joking, which is fine also. We also enjoy fear. Even how many people go to the movies to watch a fear movie, to feel afraid. Something attracts us about fear. And yet we cannot control our attractions or our projections. For me, everything is okay.
I am ready, I am strong, I want.
You will get. And this will happen. I feel something so beautiful is going to happen to you this retreat.
Я чувствую, что что-то очень прекрасное должно произойти с тобой на этом ретрите. I want to go home.
This is good.
Это хорошо.
This is good.
Я дома. Просто хочу увидеть, что я дома.
I'm home, but I want to see that I'm home.
Yes, yes, that's all it is. All are home. But imagine that we are not home.
Но представляем, что мы не дома.
So it only has to be recognized.
Это просто должно быть обнаружено.
And what a joy.
И какая радость.
What an adventure.
Какое приключение.
So, yes, yes. You are going to say one moment, what was I imagining all this time? It is so beautiful. It's more simple than simple. I didn't do anything at all.
As long as I'm not honest with everybody.
You're not honest with me. Nobody's honest. And God doesn't mind if you're not honest. It doesn't mean anything at all. This whole manifestation is a fake. But it is a divine fake. It is a pretense.
I mean, is this real, really? I'm asking this question also. This can be real.
It depends what you see. Each one sees differently. Because if you say, is this real? Maybe for different people, this means different things. Therefore, I can say, yes, it is totally real, or none of it is real, and both answers can be true. You see, our minds don't like that, because we have been educated into believing in absolutes, mental absolutes. But nothing is absolute about the mind, because mind itself is relative. I mean, all this talk is just for fun. The truth doesn't need it. It just enjoys. It's like the perfume of truth. But in the moment that truth is revealed, and there is a total simplicity, total nothingness. But the mind again cannot understand that. So for many sages, Their work was only to remove misconceptions. They didn't even speak the truth. They first had to remove the misunderstandings, the misconceptions, so the mind can function naturally again. Because very often we ask about the truth, but the mind is much too contaminated. The mind is too contaminated to comprehend it. Just forget about all these things. Just forget about. Would you believe me when I say this? If I say just relax, you have a joy, you have an urge, a desire inside your heart. You say, I want to be free, I want to be home. If I understand you correctly, home means to be free from the hypnosis of conditioning and false beliefs, limited identification, to be free from the psychological influences of the mind, to be my natural, spontaneous self again, to be effortlessly happy, to be free from selfishness, to put an end to the sense of separation from the Supreme. If that's what you mean by home, if that's what you're searching for, then I'm very happy. I have very good news for you. Then all of this spaghetti. I say, just relax a bit. Let's just keep meeting with that pure desire, and something has to happen.
Mooji, can I speak something? I was, if you can say, doing every activity that you do in their life. I don't know. Everything is like YouTube clips. Everything video, so you can watch or you can just ignore it. You are not liking the videos. Nobody's liking videos. No subscribers, no new videos. Shut down channel. It's like this. And I don't know what to say. That
It is fine.
say that the thoughts are very rare, very rare.
So thoughts are very, doesn't come.
And most
No.
of the forms of healing, but harmless.
Very good.
And one question I asked, and it just came this question, what eyes God uses to watch, and what ears God uses to hear. So I contemplated this question for a long time, and this eye is used by God. Because there are also eyes that you have when you dream.
It is the mind that sees.
Yeah. Something sees also everything that this is seen.
Yes.
Then I can say I'm always this. Never change. And I'm thankful for you very much. And I mean to everybody.
It has to be like that.
Master, I read in your book that before Babaji said you this fine thing have to vanish, you already were a few years in bliss and joy. But what's the difference after this? If you already in bliss and joy, if I understand.
I was already some years in a very happy state, very peaceful state, but it was not complete. The ego is not completely disappeared. And I want to say this because sometimes we are experiencing a very happy life. We have a strong relationship with God. We feel very protected by God's light. But still, ego is not finished. So, the life, grace, is bringing you to a place to finish. But I'm not conscious of that so much. Inside your state, you feel very happy. And then, mysteriously, I met my master. I didn't immediately accept him as my master because some ego is some discomfort. Then you feel, but I know who I am. So if I'm uncomfortable with him, maybe it's something to do with him. Because you feel, but I am okay with me. You see, this is your mind. Then the mind is trying to say, you go now. You don't need to be here. But you're not sure. Something is also attracted to be here. Something wants to run. Then you are still, another day you're still here. And another day is still here. And it's like You're having a shower in very cold water. The Master's presence sometimes very sweet, and sometimes but something new. He is a master, but the mind says yes, but he's not your master. It's true. Then why did I come here? It was not my desire to come here, and he's not my favorite looking guru. He doesn't have a beard. He doesn't look like traditional. Your mind is playing little games, like these things are important, yet you know they're not important. But at some point, I felt to write to him. For something here, the higher desire is for freedom. But you don't really know. You feel a bit lost a little bit. Then sometimes you remember, but I am inside God's grace for all these years. And it's something bring me here to this place. So this is the movement is happening inside. So when I went to see him and he began to speak with me, all the resistances that was inside started to come up and it felt very uncomfortable. Then it was like, he's not my guru. Why is he talking like that? I know why this is happening because I need to leave this place. All this is inside. Like it was so loud inside that I could not physically hear what he was speaking. Inside, it was outside he was speaking, but I tried to pretend everything is okay. When he was finished, I was finished, but I didn't realize it. Inside I was angry. I am going. And I went home, started to pack my clothes, and then it was very hot, so I went for a walk. I sat under a tree in the hot day. I was more hot than anybody else in that town because there was the sun outside and my anger inside. It was very hot. And then I said, now I go home. And I started walking, and in one moment, like a cloud, black cloud of confusion and emotion and anger vanished. I was completely empty. I have never been so empty. I was so empty, even I was not there. I could not find myself. Something was here, but my identity I could not find. I looked at my hands, but they were empty. It didn't feel like anybody was living in them. But I could see everything, but I couldn't see me. I could not feel me, meaning my identity or self-image. There was no measurement. And then a big love for Papaji came. Like I saw him everywhere. And then I just wanted to be with him. But I was still empty. So I don't know what was experiencing all of this. I started running to his house, and then I don't remember anything. I didn't get to his house. It was that moment that he became my master.
As if I died and was reborn yesterday. Now that I've been kissed from within, kissed from within. Now that I've been kissed from within. From within, kiss from within. Now that I've been kissed from